All right, episode 169. Unfortunately, today's it's going to be the last show of this podcast ever. We're going to get started right now.
Bye, guys.
All right, episode 169. Share this out. Tag someone in this, an agent, preferably. Look at this last show. Sad. 169.
This is it, guys.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. I don't know what we're going to do with this room after this.
Yeah. It's been
Put
fun.
the wall back up.
Yeah, we'll put the wall back up.
Rebuild it.
Exactly.
Build back better plan.
We didn't even know what we were doing when we took it down, so I don't know how we're going to put it back up.
For those of you who have been in here, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Just had random thermostat hanging behind young Jesse's head that the building actually needs. Funny story about said thermostat. They were like running around the floor for like a month trying to figure out why the temperature wasn't regular. And like Brian and I were like, hey, it might be the thermostat that we chucked up in the ceiling when we knocked it.
We didn't tell them right away either. I wasn't sure if they'd get mad because I don't know if it was like a fire hazard or something. But Matt finally was like, yeah, we threw it up in the ceiling.
Do we tell them now or later?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Look, before we get to this last show,
Ever.
we definitely need to,
Just
ever.
ever.
We definitely need to thank our sponsors on this. So,
Final
You guys
time.
have been great.
We haven't
been
even
awesome.
told any of them this is our last show.
Yeah,
so.
Mortgage Mike of Texas. Go mortgagemikeoftexas.com if you're looking for that awesome loan officer, that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. He's licensed here in Texas and Oklahoma. He's got a great 2-1 buy-down strategy program. He's working a webinar out for the agents and direct to your clients and make sure that you become a valuable resource. You're also going to want to...
Unfortunately, you're going to have to find him through somebody else. Bye, Mike.
Yeah.
Just not on the show.
Got no more sponsors.
See you, buddy.
No more friends.
Yeah. Then, go over to Theron Smith, Armadillo Home Warranty, armadillo.1/tour.
Man, I loved that guy.
Yeah.
It's been good knowing him.
Yeah. It's been awesome. It's
Fanny
awesome.
packs for days.
You know, what's not the last show on is Dana. I can't even tie that one in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dana went over at Homeward DFW, the best property manager.
She's growing like a weed.
She is.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is.
She's got a lot of property she's about to manage.
Well, hopefully they keep sending them over since this is the last show.
Ever.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
All right.
Well, all right. Well, it's fun, guys.
Tune in next Wednesday for the first show of next week.
Yeah.
This is the last show ever until next Wednesday.
Look, I mean, we're really overdoing this. What's the word for that, Brian?
We're just playing out the bit way too much.
Yeah.
Overselling it.
Yeah,
It's our
overselling
show.
it.
We do what we want. We're just
Yeah.
hanging out talking.
So, are y'all kidding?
Yes,
we
we're
are
super
kidding. So this is the last show until next week, right?
I
So
put up all this wood paneling on the wall. You think I'm just going to let this die on the vine? This shit took me days.
Yeah. Last show of this week until next week's show.
We just did the bit, though, where people like post on Facebook, like, I can't tell you guys what it is, but just pray for me.
That,
Yeah.
bro.
We just did that bit.
I am telling you right now.
You know, that's the
Everybody.
We just did the bit.
It's called vague booking.
Vague booking.
Vague booking.
That's a
Sure.
great term. That is, dude, I have tried so hard over the last few years of my leadership journey to remember, and Ray Dalio puts this really well in his book Principles, which I'm talking about a lot lately because I'm reading it like back to back, which I really love that book about like remember, like people are wired differently. Not everybody is like you, so you can't view everyone's behavior through the prism of your mind. So like the way that people express themselves is different than how you would express yourself in the same way. And I say that saying that is still a bullshit thing to post on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can't say, I just can't tell you what's going on, guys.
Yeah.
But just know it's pretty bad. Like, well, just don't say anything on Facebook yet.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very strange way to express yourself.
But look, the reason why we did it this way and opened it is
We
that
got a point.
there's definitely a point to this, and we were talking to Logan before their show started, and he's like, "What are y'all talking about today?" He's like, "Let me guess. Brian's going to talk about the inflation, the CPI inflation index," and we're like, maybe.
Maybe not.
But
I said the exact opposite. I'm so tired of talking about that shit.
yeah, tired about.
You guys can think of something better to talk about. It feels like that's all that's important right now.
It is, but
It tied in amazingly
Yeah.
to kind of what
So-
else we were talking about.
so how this show kind of evolved today is that on our team meeting this past Tuesday, we were talking about the inflation report and what came out. Obviously, the report is, the inflation numbers are a lot lower than expected, but we don't know where consumers are consuming their media.
Yep.
Right? And when we look at it, I pulled up a side-by-side example, and Jesse can probably do this here in a minute if you're watching on Facebook. If you're listening on a podcast device, then you need to go to YouTube or come to our Facebook, the only real estate podcast worth listening to page. But you go to CNN Business, and then you go to Fox Business. And if you look at the side-by-side, the headlines, the CNN one that's pulled up right now says, look, inflation cooled more than expected in November. That's a great report.
That sounds good.
I like
That's
that.
awesome. That
I don't know who this lady is, but that sounds good.
yeah,
a sweet Christmas
she looks
tree.
happy. She definitely looks like inflation has cooled, and she's really excited. about it.
CNN is like one of the largest news organization on earth, and they can't come up with an effing thumbnail for their video. It's just that default frame that has your face in a weird position.
I just automatically trust it because I feel like everybody who has a white Christmas tree makes all the greatest decisions with their money because
madly
those are fancy
believable.
trees.
Exactly, those are upscale.
That stuff gets everywhere, by the way.
It super does,
It's awful. It's awful. And then you go over to Fox Business News, and the big headline, after November CPI report, ex-Treasury economist warns of major shock to U.S. economy.
That sounds
Then
scary.
underneath it, if you don't read underneath it, it says inflation eases in November to 7.1%, but consumer prices remain near decade highs.
The big headline and the little headline.
Yes, and so if you look and compare those two, we don't know what message are you going to put out right now about real estate?
Let me just before we even dive into that, just to play off of what we're talking about here, you can see, what we're talking about is essentially market sentiment, meaning like what people think about what's going to happen dictates what actually ends up happening. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If everybody thinks the market's going to crash, then everybody starts selling, and then when everybody starts selling, the market crashes. Right? This is called irrational exuberance, right? This is what creates panics, not just in the equities markets, but in real estate and everything else. Part of what led to the Great Recession was not just the string of foreclosures, but other people who were going to be moving at that time, right? Like if I was going to move in the spring, and it's now November, and all of my neighbors are being foreclosed on, but I have a job that's coming up that I need to get to in the spring. I need to sell now and liquidate because my home might be worth less in the spring. And then what happens when I liquidate? That brings prices down even further, right? So these panics, what is it? Panics beef. Oh my gosh, I'm not usually the guy that can't remember how to talk on this shows. Panic begets panic, right? And Jesse and I we do this every single month now. It's become a tradition where after CPI comes out, Jerome Powell usually speaks the next day at the monthly Fed meeting, and he did today, and we get to watch in real time. It's the most surreal experience if you've ever seen it. It's like an amazing spectator sport. The markets will be reacting in one way or another to what the official statement from the Fed was regarding their meeting and CPI from the day before and where inflation stands, and the markets will be either up or down or a little volatile just based on what that report said, that print report. Then Jerome Powell will get up and he will talk for about 10 minutes. And then after he talks for about 10 minutes, he'll answer questions for about 15 to 20 minutes. So the whole thing lasts about a half hour. For that half hour, it is the most insane. This is Jesse just pulled it up. This was from 2 to after hours trading, but you can see where it really just from 2 to 3, that window. This is the most bananas experience to watch in real time. The Fed actual official report gets released. The markets react to that. Today, it seemed a little hawkish. We've talked about what hawkish means, meaning, yes, we're only going to raise interest rates 50 basis points, which is what we expected. We're not totally sure that that's going to be the norm going forward. We still see monetary tightening happening well into, if not all the way through 2023, and we might even leave the door open to raise our rate hikes back to 75 or even a point in the future. And so the market just started to plummet based on that report. And then Jerome Powell gets up there, and I swear to God, the second that guy stands on the podium, the Dow just takes a nosedive. And it is insane. Where it's oscillating back and forth right there, and there's that big drop. I can't even remember what he said for that big drop.
Remember.
He said hello.
But he speaks for like 10 minutes.
This was
It's
hello.
like when Roger Goodell
Guys.
steps up to the podium to introduce the NFL draft, and people just start booing him.
That's
before
what it
he's-
is, bro. But it is insane
That's
because
exactly what it is.
literally sentence by sentence, you will see the more negative he sounds, the markets just drop. And then if he sounds one little thing that sounds neutral, optimistic, they come right back. Like me and Jesse were sitting there, and he said something about, making sure that the job is done all the way through 2023. And we
That
were
was
like,
this one right
oh! And then it went boom!
That was this right here.
Yes. And then, then he'll do questions and some reporter will ask him something. And he's like, we want the job to be done and we need to be financially responsible. And the market was like, okay, he sees it. He sees it. So they'll go back up.
What if he delivered it the most negative news, but worked on his tonality and made it in the most
That's
happiest
part of
way
it.
of like,
That's
you know
Just
what
like
I'm
if you're
getting
screaming at a
Yeah.
dog in an
Yeah.
enticed tone of
what it is.
voice.
That's what
Be
it
like,
is.
oh, I hate you so much.
Yeah, you know what? You know what?
It is. That's exactly
This
what
is
it
going to
is.
go through the end of 2025, and
Bro, it
yeah,
is like
just see if you can
watching
just
this
change it.
super highly competitive like hockey or soccer match where just every second you're like, oh, come on. Yes.
Isn't it
go? Like,
Isn't it
it's-
really crazy though? Like because like I'm watching something happen here, and I think this is the really cool part of having these high level conversations, is that the reality is we watch all this stuff and it gets told to us by other people, and we're trying to stay up to date. And DeBacker was texting us yesterday as the stuff was going down, and so we get to do all this. There are also multiple people watching this, like going like, what in the hell? Who is Fed Chair Colin Powell? Right? Like, why is he back and talking about money now? And how is that affecting inflation? And why are my interest rates higher? Like, the reality is
Rest
so,
in peace,
like,
Colin Powell.
9 out of 10 people have no fucking clue why this info matters. And I think not even 9 out of 10 people, I think probably 8 out of 10 real estate agents from that standpoint don't understand how those types of conversations literally change the conversations they can have. And I think that is why even on our teams, even in any type of like real estate environment, like I said, we feel like we're insulated with it from a team because we do things a little bit more efficiently, things like that. But the reality is there is still a lot of agents who don't know or don't understand how any of this stuff ties together for them to be able to help their clients, or for them to be, like, candidly, for them to be able to help their business.
Well, and I think that's where we're actually taking the premise here today is that, we did the show is ending until next week, because that's kind of the back and forth that you see during these things. And the same with the headlines, like one will be it's the greatest thing, one will be it's the worst thing. Just going back to what we were talking about before, like the reality is the economy itself, like the staples of the economy, those are just objective realities. It is prices that suppliers are charging companies to make products that get passed on to the consumer, who creates demand based on their liquidity and the amount of money they can spend. Like those things happen organically on their own. Then we react to those things based on the financial side, the way that in which we lend each other money, at what rate, and things like that. What's interesting about it is we decide at what rate we lend one another money and all that type of stuff, and the value of companies nowadays in public markets based mostly on sentiment. What's actually happening when you're seeing Jay Powell speak and the markets are going up and down, companies are gaining and losing hundreds of millions of dollars in the blink of an eye based on the thoughts of a guy that actually aren't attached necessarily to objective reality. And I think, so when we talk about, most people don't even understand this. Well, admittedly, even financiers don't can't predict the future, but they will make decisions based on what they think may happen, but it's not necessarily based in objective reality. It might be based on how they think other people might react to the same kind of news. And so when you boil that down, and it sounds very complicated, what the action that we can take as far as real estate professionals and how this all relates to your business is like, we've got to get way better at simplifying what are incredibly complicated conversations. Because one, none of this stuff is real. It's all happening in this digital casino called the stock markets and the equities markets and high finance and Federal Reserve involvement and the way that affects the housing market and things like that. But most of those things are happening based on sentiment. Sentiment is made up of millions and millions of people's thoughts about what might happen in the future, which actually then affects reality. And so we've got to simplify these conversations to at least do our part to keep rational thought the highest level of the conversation.
You know what? I think what you should do, Brian, is every month when this comes out, you hold your own press conference. And then Jesse puts up a screen next to it, and then we judge off of how your tone is. And we judge, we go up and down on house price values at that very minute. And we just run that every single month. Because ultimately, look, the whole point about this is like, you know, as real estate agents, the running joke is that when's a good time to buy or sell? And every time like you talk to an agent, it's a great time to buy or sell, great time to buy or sell, great time to buy or sell. And ultimately, you know, that is true.
Right.
Just depending on whether that fits within your game plan. It may be a horrible time for you to sell even in the best real estate market when prices are high and you don't really need that house anymore and you could capture all that equity, but you've got something going on. Like your kid needs to stay in that school district for another 2 or 3 years. Like you can't force someone to make and motivate them to move at that time.
Well, that's why there is a lot of truth in the simplified. Okay. There is ultimate truth in the simplified response and the simplified saying that the right time to buy or sell a home is when it makes sense for you. The caveat to that conversation, by the way, though, means that it's the right time when it's the right time for you, so long as you're working with a skilled professional who can make sure that they navigate the current market in a way that is to your advantage, right? So like right now, if you just listen to the news, you know, housing activity has slowed and all that type of stuff. It might seem like the wrong time to buy or sell, right? And the reality is, you know, most of the people that we're doing buy-sell deals with right now, right? They're excited about the prospect of getting a rate buy down and a new construction home. We have a home going on the market in Denton probably next week that they're buying new construction, and they locked in a contract already for $120,000 less than the asking price in May. And so, yeah, we're going to list for probably a little bit lower than they would have listed in May as well. We ain't listing $120,000 lower, but since they're buying new construction, they're making that arbitrage opportunity. They're gaining equity in their new home that would have been lost if they had bought back in May. If I'm a renter right now, you know, it's a great opportunity for me to get a rate buy down. Plus, I could probably get a room in that concession to maybe even break my lease for free.
But
like, there's a lot of opportunities there. But if I'm not a skilled agent, I'm not working you through that.
But look, again, I think the message you put out in the marketplace, and instead of just saying it's a great time to buy or sell, great time to buy or sell, you know, back it up with the data with it and what's going on. Yeah. So right now, we know in North Texas that the average list price to sales price, average sellers coming off 6%, right? So, you know, depending on how you interpret that, is it a good time to sell your house? Well, let's go look at the appreciation rate.
Yeah.
You know, is it a great time to buy? Absolutely, it's a great time to buy. If you come in and say, all right, yes, interest rates are high, we can come in and negotiate on average 6% off, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But can we show you a way that we can get you a lower than advertised rate? Can we show you how to save on closing costs? Can we show you how to maybe get even less down payment? And show you how to set yourself up for winning in this real estate market. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we can do the same thing by showing you, the average list to sales price when listing with our company, we're at 101% versus the market average at 96%. There's still ways to set yourself up for success in this marketplace.
Well, it's funny because this seems like it's funny because I was just sitting here thinking like, damn, I already know all this stuff. This isn't new. And what did we talk about downstairs? what was Logan saying about the Rob Dyrdek thing? Like, the new cool thing has become a real estate agent. How many people do you know have only been in this business for a year and a half, 2 years? And that's kind of always the case because the turnover churns in those first 2 years a lot. But think about what we're like these are skills that we're legitimately talking about that you have not had to employ for the last 2 years at all. Understanding your list price versus other people's sales price, understanding your days on market. Like, if real estate agents are sitting here wondering what the actionable thing is, if you're an old head like me who's hearing regurgitated information, congratulations. The shit that used to matter matters again. Yeah. Right? If you're the type of person who's brand new to this and you're like, why would those metrics matter? Welcome, young buck. This is the shit that matters in a freaking environment where every monkey with a pair of cymbals can't sell a house.
It does.
Right?
That goes, yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is like, what you're saying, I agree 100%. Like, you can't objectively ever say it's a great time to buy or sell. And I stand by the fact that it's a great time to buy or sell whenever it's right for you. But it also might not always be right for you. And as a real estate agent, my job isn't to convince you that it's always a great time to buy or sell. My job is to make sure that I understand the situation you're in, what you're trying to accomplish. And then I have the skills to, if it is the right time for you, I am able to help you take advantage of the pros of that market. Like right now, if you bought in March of last year and you locked in a 2.95% interest rate on a 30-year loan and you paid $50,000 over asking price and you want to make a lateral move, it's not the right time for you to sell, bro. Super not. Don't do it. And I'll tell you.
It might not be, but I was messing around yesterday and I was trying to I was just writing content, right? Like trying to write very generic, because here's what we know about, like, side notes. If you guys want to actually get shit watched on social media, make the most generic, basic 101 content around real estate that's ever existed. Like, why should somebody sell their home? So I was like, how can I dumb this down to the things that have just become natural for me in real estate? And I asked myself, what would be the 6 biggest concerns for a buyer, not in this market, just in general, right? What are the things that you hear buyers say matter to them? And I made this list, okay, right? And I want to tell you, one of these has to do with money, which proves Brian's point that only one of these is really going to be affected by this market, right? Like affordability. That's what we're talking about. Your interest rate, the home price is number one. We'll put affordability up there, right? Like location is absolutely the second one. That location may come into play because work is making you move there. You have a child timing into school and you are in shit-ass school districts and you need another school district. None of that has anything to do with the market or interest rates at all, right? Size and layout. I'll tell you right now, we're looking for a larger house. We've got 2 small boys in a room that are driving each other crazy. We need a bigger house. I don't particularly care about interest rates. It would be way easier if we had 500 more square feet and another bedroom, right? Like condition of the property. If you're an investor, obviously that might be a reason you would buy. Right. And if you're buying your own home, obviously you care about the condition of the property. Amenities and features. I just put a buyer under contract who at $1.4 million, who legitimately was downsizing into a house, but his number one thing to me was, I'm not sacrificing on quality and luxury. He cared about that type of stuff.
Same way. I want a small house that's nice.
Yeah, and then guess what, real estate agent? Bonus 6 thing that you actually get to affect. What the resale of the home is. If you are putting your clients in homes without talking to them about future resale opportunities, that is the 6 things that people care about. And we could say future resale and affordability are the 2 financial ones. Yeah. Every other one has to do with life circumstance, which interest rates don't give a shit about. That proves,
but by the way,
people are going to move in every single market.
Your life circumstance can also be tied into resellability, because if something happens in less than 2 years,
100%.
You need to make sure that you're hopefully in a position that if you sell, maybe it's a break-even point, maybe it's a little bit of equity gain.
Well, again, that's what comes into making sure is it the right time for you, right? If you're only moving because of some of the other things that don't have to do with money, but you might be in a position where you have to sell in 2 years, then like you need to prioritize that and probably not do it, right? Like,
yeah, I was asking Mortgage Mike. I wanted to say how have rates done after all this, and he's not telling me all the way. What he texted back,
I can tell you what the 10 years
hold
doing.
On. He texted back. He's like, "I'll do an Instagram live soon."
Whoa!
So
he's
go over
with a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Cliffhanger.
So go to Mortgage Mike. Look at Mortgage. It's like Mortgage Mike D. Mortgage Mike _ Mike D. on his Instagram.
Mike D.
Go subscribe and follow him there. He's going to go live soon and talk about how the Fed, with the Fed increasing the rate, kind of what the sentiment is.
I'm back from the dead.
And
chilling at the beach, down to Club Dead. Make another record because the people, they want more of this. Make a no, Beastie Boys?
No, I know Beastie Boys. Yeah, I know that one.
Does?
Nick definitely, yeah.
I'm just letting you
Suckers
go
they
with
be
it.
seeing they could take out Horowitz. Hurricane.
But go to mortgage underscore Mike D and
Just
just
the
wait
D.
for his live to show up because he's gonna go over and do a review. He's taking the bit that I just said Brian should do every month to do a news segment about what's going on. And I think you should then analyze the Fed chairman's words.
I feel like DeBacker is going to do a college football spin on it, though. It's going to be like a coach's presser after a game. He's got that vibe. Mine will be way more official.
Or like a hat that's kind of just pushed up a little bit. He looks disheveled.
That's what I'm saying.
Tired.
Exactly.
Maybe drop a curse word every now and
that's
again.
what I think.
Practice.
Jesse, where did the 10-year end up by 3 o'clock?
Let's find out.
It trades a little after hours, but this is, as we were watching this all unfold, these are the things that I escape my knowledge. So a little,
Just a little bit.
it's not even one half of 1/10 of a 57 hundredths of a percent.
Yeah.
No. 5 hundredths of a percent.
Correct.
Very, very, very minor increase, and it was down for a while, which is strange. What I was talking with Jesse about as this is all going on is like at one point the Dow and the 10-year were dropping in tandem, which just makes me feel like, again, this is market sentiment, like nobody really knows what's going on, so there's like sell your stocks, sell your bond, like sell your stocks, sell your bonds,
Hide your kids. Hide
hide
Yeah.
your kids, hide your wife, right? Like that's like, and because you don't see those things happen in tandem. They're
Yeah.
a very small market lesson. Usually, when equities, which are higher yield, meaning higher return, when they are going down, people buy bonds because they are supposed to be a safer play. And so, usually, when equities go down, bonds go up. But they were going down in tandem today, which means that people are, maybe this is it. I think you need to do gold index price or something, or gold price or something. Yeah. See, that was down all, like nobody wants anything.
No.
People just want cash in an inflationary environment. Maybe they're so confident that we're beating inflation that everybody's just going back to having cash.
Possibly so. I mean, I'm hearing like more and seeing more reports coming out like the soft landing is going to we're in a much greater chance of a softer landing
If you manifest it.
Yeah, and I hope so. And hopefully, again, it goes back to reading those damn headlines. Like, if you buy into the Fox Business News, I mean, obviously, they had like, when I pulled it up on Team Meeting, it was a picture of money just being burned. And I'm like, no one wants their money being burned, right?
Yeah, there's
no one wants their money being, worth less.
You're not allowed to burn U.S. currency. Isn't that illegal?
I don't know.
I think
Can
so.
you Google that? Because I'm pretty sure that Fox Business thing, they're showing themselves committing a crime. Can you burn money? Yeah.
So on this, let's go back a little bit while Jesse's looking up, can you burn money legally or not?
Burning banknotes is prohibited under 18 USC 333 mutation.
Mutilation.
Oh, mutilation.
Yeah, it burns.
Mutilation.
It burns
of
at a different
national-
color, by the way. I think, doesn't it?
Remember Rush Hour?
Yeah.
When she burned it and it was like red was real and blue was fake or
Yeah.
something.
Maximum fine is $100. Guess what? I'm burning $102.
But 6 months. But 6 months in jail though too. So, but
Maximum.
Kelderman, like because I want this to really be about what your market looks like, or your message to the marketplace. And you were talking about you did a video. Was it on TikTok?
Yes.
Right. So you did a video on TikTok that got a response on there.
Yeah.
From someone that's been in your database.
Yeah, since like a thing that I ran, like way back in the day, I gave away tickets to a Thanksgiving Dallas Cowboys game, and like I just started friend requesting. Everybody came through because that was my bid at the time. Was like, just be friends on Facebook if we do business together, right? So, anyways, Edgar's been in my world for a long time, and I posted green screen content. If you a little social media tip, green screen content's huge right now. Vanderchuck and Sirhan are using it. Watch those guys do whatever they're doing. Don't be an idiot, right? take a picture
But
of
you
the
don't
thing.
actually even need a green screen.
No,
do you?
TikTok's super rad. Like they actually have an effect for this. You load the picture behind you, you put yourself in this thing, you can actually point at shit, which is what I did today. And it was a simple graphic over the 10 hottest markets that NAR were talking about for 2023. But the headline of it was NAR says that 4.73 million homes are going to sell. And we all know that that's usually projected at 5 to 6 million. So it's a little bit lower number, so I'm talking about. Plus DFW was number 3. San Antonio was 8. And he reached out and his exact conversation was super interested in, it wasn't super interested in talking about real estate, but really think real estate would be awesome to buy right now, but don't really trust interest rates. I legitimately commented back to the deal, went and messaged him on the side and said, hey man, may not be a perfect solution for you, but there are interest rate solutions that don't really put you at risk. They're not adjustable rate mortgages or anything like that. If that's something you and your wife are interested in, let's talk. And he messaged me back. He said, wife is the one who has has a problem with the interest rates right now. Let's find a time to talk. We're currently scheduling that. And look, this is something I do really bad. I actually texted AK today and he was like, hey, do this on your social media. But I was like, my consistency has been so terrible with it. But here's what I found. When you post content around the things that people are talking about, and you have even a slight solution to the conversation, because guys also understand all the solutions are really, really easy to find out. Like we're not like rewriting mathematics here. We're trying to figure out a way to lower some percentage points
just negotiate.
so people can buy a house. Like, don't be afraid of the conversation, because as somebody who's just not the world's greatest mathematician,
You don't have to do spells or anything.
Yeah, I can do these percentages okay. And have that conversation with him, and hopefully what comes from that was that there are just a lot of people out there consuming information that this is just a bad market to buy. And while it might be for some people, there are one thing I do believe is true. There are very few people who are better off renting. There are very few people who that makes sense for, regardless of what bullshit Grant Cardone tries to sell all of you guys.
That is true.
Right? Like, I'm not saying it doesn't work for him, but if you don't own any investment property, you might want to own your own house.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
you have to be disciplined.
Grant Cardone
Yes.
does this great bit where he's got 25-year-olds buying into the fact that they should never own anything. They should just rent everything.
Well, look,
and it's like,
if you're going to go syndicate 80,000 units,
yeah,
then- right.
yeah, and make like 20%
Don't
when you hand it off to your
by the way.
investors.
Grant Cardone owns a lot of stuff.
No, dude, he makes a ton of money. Also, like I do think there's a subset, especially in this. I'll go off on this right now. I think there's a subset of men right now who have a huge following of lesser men, based on the fact that they seem like they have giant C's, and all the dudes just want to follow them around and just agree with whatever they say. And I think Grant Cardone has a huge following of people who just agree with him based on nothing other than the fact. If you were telling me you think renting is better than buying and you own nothing else, not even your car, your opinion is invalid.
Yeah, that's-
move off the road.
Yeah, that's not
Right?
and
You're,
that's
in,
not
you're
even-
in the fast lane of smartness, and you need to be in the right lane. You just
That-
don't understand what you're even talking
That would
about.
only be half of Grant Cardone's message anyway, because his message has never been to not own anything. He's making the point, and I agree with you 1,000%. He's making the point that a single-family homestead is not always a great ROI. If it is your only investment, which for most people, besides their 401k, it is,
For most people, we
then
talk
you
about-
better at least own that.
We talk
Yes.
about this on the show all the time. How like actually investing in one single family property as a rental, and if that's your end game, that's not a wealth building strategy, right?
I hate that like some of those dudes, because there's so many of them. Like, I agree with them, and like, man, their message is so cheeseball. I can't get over it. Have you seen the one with the dude? He's like a friggin' like gorilla man with his whole mane, and he's like pacing back and forth. He's on TikTok. He like spits out his teeth, and he's like, "Go to the fucking gym."
Oh yeah, I like that guy.
That guy. I like that guy. I hate that I like that guy. He's making a lot of good points about not eating industrial seed
he's-
oils.
he's doing
His
bits.
delivery's bananas.
No,
but
he's
I like
doing
it
bits.
so
no,
much.
no, the Liver King's delivery is bananas. Let's
Yes, it
lie,
is.
and then we get caught lying. Let's go on a podcast tour asking everybody forgiveness.
Yeah.
Liver King, you suck, bro.
Guys, you
you
know what?
lied to everybody. You're a hack.
The problem,
you are a
the
hack.
biggest problem with Liver King admitting that he's on steroids is he did it, and his apology video was done as Liver King. He was still doing the character. I was like, you're trying to act like you always talk like that. You just admitted you were lying about taking steroids. Can you just talk like Eric or whomever you are? Just be normal. Just be Jeff. Just say, hey
He's the
guys,
most Jeff-ass
this is
Jeff.
a social media experiment I did. I got caught, but he was like, Liver King is sorry. I was like, but stop being the guy then. You can't admit that you're a liar and then say it as the guy.
He still eats testicles though.
That would be
That's
like
just 'cause he
his
enjoys
entire
it.
life.
that's like the dude who catfished Manti Te'o admitting that he
shit.
catfished it, but still pretending to be the person.
The fact,
Like, that would be like Lene Kakua or whatever being like, look, I'm not really Lene Kakua. And then continuing to say they are. That was what Liver King's doing.
The fact that we just have any sympathy for Liver King in his situation just proves that
We
we're
don't
just
sympathy.
the
Fuck that
biggest
guy.
bunch of beta followers generations in the entire world. And look, and I don't even know where in the hell I got off on this. But my point being is, like,
Hey, we're on it now.
I know.
Yeah.
My point being is going all the way back to the investment side of things. Like, as a real estate agent, I think there's a huge opportunity right now, just like for Edgar, who reached out to me, for you to be able to educate people about their specific situation. And if you're saying any absolutes, like what Grant Cardone says, or even this market's just impossible to buy in and nobody should do it, I've always said, anytime you're talking in those types of absolutes, you are absolutely leading your client astray, and you are 100% an improper fiduciary to people.
Think of it this way, though. Like, what you put out there, you took something so simple and posted it, right? So there's a lot of agents, especially on the newer side. Look, even the veterans who are scared to maybe even take that plunge, but the newer agents don't know how to regurgitate it. Yeah. And all you have to do is just post it, like do the green screen, talk about it, and then just share the thoughts around it.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned we don't have to recreate and reinvent the wheel. The products are out there. You're not coming up with something special. But I was talking with Alan, my trainer, this morning, and he was talking about one of the coaches that we're all a part of, and he's like, everything's all the same. I said, no, there's really nothing new out there. We're not inventing something new when it comes to selling real estate or creating packages, right? But the way that someone like Edgar, the way he interpreted it really resonated with him versus everything else out in the marketplace. So if you go and just do if you were to go and do a news article breakdown every day on real estate, and you posted it on TikTok or whatever your preferred social media platform is, the people that are in your world that like, know, and follow you, they're going to absorb that versus if Brian were to say it.
Yes.
There's going to be things that Brian say that they're not going to come to me because they love the analogy breakdowns and the data points and the geeking out of it.
Yes, and there are people entering the stream at different points too. Like, think of how many times we even see this in real estate groups, and if you're a part of nursing groups or teacher groups, and they're savage as real estate agents are, you might see this. When somebody posts some 2-year-old meme, they get absolutely ripped apart. Like, welcome to the group, Karen. You just figured out this meme existed. Here's the thing is, though, there are people entering the stream and the conversation at different points. And so, like, that thing that you think is old hat and old information, for somebody else that's new, or they may have never heard it at all, right? Like we think because we get stuck, and this goes almost all the way back to the beginning of this conversation, the information we consume, we are stuck in a vortex of our own biases because it is the thing in your hand is designed to do that, right? We all are aware of that. If you think Amazon's following you around, it's because they are, right? The whole point of this is, like, to think that this basic 101 information isn't necessary is ridiculous, because there's 25-year-olds entering the market every time. There's 40-year-olds who have never bought a home before that wouldn't tell anybody that because they're scared that people would judge them, but also don't really understand the basic principles behind how interest rates even work. And some of those might even have their real estate license, right? People are entering the stream at different points. So the information, to what you're talking about, the dissemination of information and where people are going to meet you at is always an opportunistic thing, because putting out relevant content that is relevant is how you go viral or whatever, but it's also really, really helpful, right? Like, everybody's hearing interest rates bad, real estate bad. That's all they hear.
And at a basic level, this is organic. This is just what's important in the market right now. As a real estate agent, you have to care about what the consumer cares about and do your job to get at least a basic understanding of it so you can advise on it. And in a really boring real estate market, which a stable market is a boring market, right? I think 2015. No one cared about real estate. It was boring, right? Like, whatever, And then what do consumers care about? Well, they care about normal stuff. School district and, all the other 5 things that were not the ones that involved money that Kelderman was talking about. And so what does a knowledgeable agent do? They get really familiar with their local market, and they become an expert in the things that matter to people that are moving there, right? And just right now, what do people care about? Well, they care about the economy and those and interest rates and the factors that affect them and all that type of stuff. Like, I know I might seem like I overdo it with being really obsessed about this type of stuff. You got to have, if you're going to succeed in 2023, because this stuff isn't going away. Realistically, what Jerome Powell says actually does matter to you as a real estate agent right now. And I'm sorry that that's the case if that's not been a passion of yours up to this point. But that's what people are hearing when they turn on the news. And so just like we were talking about going back to the beginning of this episode, market sentiment is what matters. And right now, the sentiment is I need to watch the news and find out whether or not it's a good time to buy a house based on what Fox News or CNN or whatever is telling me. And they're talking about treasury yields and recession and inflation, all that stuff. And, you know, the same way you used to know, you need to know everything about that important school district that your clients wanted to get into. You need to have a pretty, at least functional and utilitarian understanding of this stuff to be able to have conversations that matter.
You know what I think you can do with it, though? So, like, all right, if you don't want to geek out on Powell, is it Colin Powell, right?
It is not Colin Powell.
Not Colin Powell.
That's just giving Kelderman shit on
I don't know
that.
if he was messing around or not.
I
but-
knew that wasn't his name.
Okay.
I'm just saying that was my whole point. Is people out there just like, I don't even know who Fed Chair Colin Powell is. That's what I'm saying. Is they don't even know
That's cool.
who the person is.
I said rest in peace, and Jesse, I saw organically just looked him up to make
Just have
sure
to
he
make
was
sure.
dead. I knew that already. He died last year, and Jesse was like, I'm not so sure.
But the whole point of this is kind of to say, like, dude, so many people just don't. You as a real estate agent, and even honestly, you as a consumer, can kind of gauge exactly who you should hire or what you should be doing next in your business, depending on who you are, by whether or not they really even understand this basic level stuff. And honestly, the percentage of agents who do, I think, is super small because we see it every day.
Well, here's and the point I was making on that, or where I was going with it, is like, you don't have to go digest it yourself. So when I first got in the industry, I didn't even know about. I didn't know that the Treasury yield affected interest rates. Like, I thought, all right, the Fed increased rates, and it goes up. I thought interest rates go up, like most people do.
Like until like 3 years ago, I didn't know that. Either.
Yeah.
Until
And-
2020, actually, probably when COVID hit.
And here's what I also tell you. I also had lenders that mentored me and told me this. I just thought the Treasury yield and Fed rates were all. I just thought they were all the same
I just
thing.
thought rates were just rates.
Yes, and so what you can do, especially when you're newer, and you need to take on a mentor guide. That should be like Mortgage Mike is great. I ask him questions. He probably gets tired of me. Like, how do we get this? How do we do this? Can you do this? He's like, no, that's illegal. You can't do that. I was like, great. So I don't want to break the law. And so why don't you bring your preferred vendors on and let them help you become the expert? So I would bring on Mortgage Mike, interview him. Put on StreamYard, just like this podcast is done through StreamYard. You can do that. You can do
like
it
if
through
you're
Zoom.
not. Actually, this is a really good point. If you're not like just investing in like basic, like software or something that can help you do educational stuff for your database, like they're used to having that stuff now. So like if you're spending any money on content creation and stuff a month, and you're not spending money on something as simple as like Demio, where you can do webinars and things like that, like get that. And then blast out invites to all of your database. Have someone like Mortgage Mike on. And, dude, even if 10 freaking people jump on, who cares? You're talking directly to them.
StreamYard now has a webinar version.
Man, I wish we had known that before we got so deep in the weeds with Demio.
They
I don't know. I
just
kind of liked Demio.
yeah,
Demio's tight.
Well, you went to Demio, and then StreamYard announced it was in beta, I think. And so,
I don't like anything in beta.
It's always in
well, now
beta.
it's out. Now it's. I don't know if it's good or not. But interview Mortgage Mike. I would bring on Theron because, again, most people don't know about home warranties and what's included. He's got a one-page contract, right? So I would bring on, those people. I'd bring on Dana to talk about property management so that, next year there's going to be investment opportunities, right? You're going to start seeing a lot more from Pad Split. We have the Pad Split guys coming in. Actually, we should probably try to see how to get them on the show because
That'd
they're
be
going to
good.
Be here a couple weeks.
yeah, in January. And so, Beth Silverman will be back in town. Last week's show about Pad Split and the SDRs was one of our highest rated shows.
Yeah.
And
The conversation about that continues, by the way. Like, if we don't usually tell to go back and watch too much because we just kind of put these out there, and some of them are so specific to the time and place they don't make sense. Go back and watch Beth's stuff. Like, I will tell you what we're doing is
I mean, she's listening right now. So,
Yeah. Cool.
So, I mean, that Pad Split show was one of the highest rated shows.
NASDAQ.
Yo,
I'm on the NASDAQ.
right at that.
I'm Beth. Look at my upward trajectory arrow on the NASDAQ.
NASDAQ.
But so you become the expert in the eyes of your database and the people that know, like, and love you by putting out stuff like this, and ultimately coming up and understanding, just like the very point of the show where we said last show ever until next week, right? Or last show ever of this week until next week.
The last
right?
ever show for December 14th.
Yes, and so of 2020.
2022.
Yeah. Well, actually, next
7
year,
years from now, there will be a December
Yes,
14th
yes,
show.
exactly.
Actually, I haven't even talked about this. Is next week the last show for the year?
Probably.
Well, we just talking about
we
before.
kind of talked about it.
I don't know if Nick's in town. He always checks his phone to see if he's in town.
I'm gonna go to New
'Cause
York.
I'm in town.
I don't think we're going to do both the Wednesday before
No.
and after Christmas. If we could
We
take
could do the
one,
Wednesday after if people
we
were
could,
around.
if we could take one off, I'd prefer to take that one off
the one
agree.
after?
Yeah, I agree.
because I just feel like that's such a slow week. I'd like to
is.
just check out and do.
I'd rather do a show.
Both Wednesdays?
You can do a fucking show by
I'm down.
yourself.
dicks.
I mean, look. What if we just did? What if
Mike.
what if we did a StreamYard version where we all zoomed in?
Zoomed in from our own.
I'm gonna zoom.
Kelderman can do it from the closet.
I'll zoom in from the jacuzzi in the suite at the Highland Hotel that I rent out usually
that'll
that
be
week.
badass.
That'll be
Well, first off, you ran out that week and didn't invite us.
all covered in bubbles. That is a Brian and his woman week that
like
you
it.
are not
Whoa.
invited
I
to.
like it.
Not
Just
yet.
a hot tip
Not
if
yet.
you're in the North Texas area. One of the little known facts: the Highland Hotel used to be Hotel Palomar. They have really reasonable suites, and they have these massive jacuzzi tubs.
Is that right there off 75 Mockingbird?
75 Mockingbird.
What
right
about
next
the
to
Como
XMU.
Motel?
I bet you if you Google that, you'll find a pretty vicious murder happened in that.
Oh, it did. That's why the rooms I think are so cheap. Because
I ain't gonna say because it's super kind of sensitive situation. The guy who did it deserves to rot. But I think somebody got their head chopped off with scissors. And, there was an extension cord choking situation. involved.
scissors?
It was pretty violent situation.
Dude,
Damn.
Can we look this up and not share it on the screen?
I don't know if people
I
want
mean,
to.
you've already shared it.
We'll do the
Yes.
PG version of what happened.
Yeah, say Hotel Palomar Mede.
Oh man,
Is that why they changed their name?
I don't know. That's why they changed their name, but
Well, what year was it? Because they didn't,
this was not that long. This wasn't so long.
okay, I was going to
ago
say
that
because
it's
they
crazy.
didn't change their name that long. Oh, there it is.
2013.
No, that's is that it? Is that
No,
it?
no, no,
Dallas,
no,
that's
no.
Dallas.
Wait, the
Dallas.
owner. It was the owner.
As Dallas.
Put
Just do
Dallas
Dallas.
in there.
That's not
Maybe I
even.
got
Yeah.
totally wrong. Maybe I got totally wrong.
There you go. Is that what it? Most haunted hotels?
No, none of those look like bad things.
Yeah, okay.
Minaj.
Hotel Palomar is now the Highland Hotel in Dallas. Doesn't say anybody
It doesn't
did or
say
did not
anything.
get murdered.
There
murdered.
is a scissor Chappy Chap situation with those hotels
there's
down there
lots
off
of
of the
scissoring
hill
at
too.
the-
See, now you
hotel.
it's about the media.
For those of you who
there.
are Dallas
Oh.
located, tell me what I'm talking about. Rubber
Yeah.
ducky, please. What?
Oh, that's because he wants to get in
He
the
wants
hot
to get in the
tub.
hot
with
tub.
us.
Squeak, squeak.
Yeah. So, speaking of Rubber Ducky, go support Mortgage Mike of Texas and get him a Rubber Ducky. MortgageMikeofTexas.com.
Merry Christmas.
Licensed here in Texas
What
and in
if-
Oklahoma.
what
If anybody
everybody-
wants Mortgage Mike, make this go viral, and I will give everybody Mortgage Mike's address, and you can all just send rubber ducks to his
that'd be great.
his house.
Oh my god, dude! What if everybody does send him up to his office or something?
That'd be so rad.
Cool.
There's these guys I follow. They're from Australia. They're called How Ridiculous. Kind of like Dude Perfect. They
Okay.
do these crazy
Yeah.
shots, and they a lot of rubber ducks
Do
incorporated.
they
and
do a
stuff.
lot of Australian sports?
Australian.
Yeah, they are definitely they
A
do.
lot of
They
Aussie
kick
rules
soccer
football,
balls and they
yeah.
play tennis a lot more.
What's
on
what's
their show.
the hoop
Tennis
ball?
is big in
Throw
Australia.
footballs, yeah.
I think it's pretty big.
What is the hoop ball? What is that?
hoop
Hoop
ball? It's
ball.
called
Where the hoop
basketball.
is sideways?
Old man.
Is that what you're talking about?
We don't put 'em in peach
It's
baskets
a
anymore
hoop.
either.
It's a hoop, but there's no backboard.
Oh,
That's huge in
yeah,
Australia.
that's big in Australia.
Oh no, it starts
What
with
is
an
that?
F. It's
The
called
hoop?
Flugen. It's the
Flugenflogger.
flippity
Flogger.
Flugen flip.
This is going so well.
It's weird. Like they can't travel in that either, but they actually don't call it. I don't know. I've seen it. Australian hoop, no backboard game.
Netball.
No, that's not
oh,
right.
that is it. It doesn't have a
Yeah.
backboard. That guy right
Anyways.
there.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
It is
netball.
netball.
Look at that crazy
you're wearing
Australian.
clothes.
Which, by the way, sounds better than basketball if you break it down. It's not a basket.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
It used to be though.
Like it had a bottom.
But look, we got FIFA on right now in football. Like I get it. Like there's just we can just with America. There's no.
Can you imagine
There's
what
so
an-
few
what a-
foots involved
what a-
in American
What a
football.
nightmare it would be, because there's some things that we have not progressed from. We still do that are really stupid. Can you imagine if basketball was still a basket? Like every time somebody made a shot, somebody had to go pull it out of that thing.
Just had to
12 feet in the air.
It seems like,
like the
it would,
ref had to climb a ladder. And
it seems like it would have taken 3 6-year-olds 5 minutes to realize they should cut the bottom out of that
I
bitch.
know, but-
like it does seem like man, the ball keeps getting stuck. What should we do?
Just
What do
league
we
politics,
do?
bro. It's
How
league
about
politics.
open the bottom of it? You've had
Just
cups
league-
for a while. Have you
just-
not figured out this
The
stuff?
higher ups at the league, bro, they won't do it. There's a lot of
Right.
dumb stuff in sports.
It's tradition, man. It's
right?
tradition.
Like it took him a long time. It took him a long time to start shifting the infield. You know, you're like, this guy hits it here every fucking time. It took us 200 years to realize we should put more guys over there.
There's this really beautiful thing that happens in the show sometimes because we very rarely go to the long cam, which isn't working today. But and all of us have this. Oh, it is working. Where you will just shoot a glance across the table at somebody when you're just struggling to find your place in a conversation, and Nick and I just had the most intimate moment of not being able
I'm
to.
just thinking, Theron Smith,
Smith.
armadillo.1
Such a
/star.
great sponsor.
HomewardDFW.com, best property management company on earth. Only available in North Texas, but it is on earth. Jesse, I don't know if we have a question queued up, but
We do have the question.
Okay, if you
Do you remember? I don't have it.
Wait. Okay, but I do want to hear. Okay, can we just, because this is going to be a long question and it's very good, and Nick has not heard this yet, so I'm
Yes.
excited about this question. Can you just Google this really fast? Because now the money thing has me thinking about it. One, it's very strange that you can only get 6 months in jail for burning paper currency, but you can get 5 years in jail for burning coins.
Yes.
Which I don't even know you could burn.
I just feel like the
coins.
mechanism that you'd have to get a hold of to burn coins just means you've automatically committed a larger crime.
Yeah, you're just so much more committed. You're just a deviant.
you had
and
to
we
go
need
get
off
some
the
shit that's
streets.
probably illegal.
What's like the dumbest thing you can get really serious time?
Just
for?
literally
How do you
Google what's
that?
the dumbest federal.
Yeah, like dumbest
Punishment.
federal offense.
Yeah.
Like, what's the most outdated law that you could legit get busted for?
Marijuana possession.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's a default.
come on.
Aside from that, there we go. 19 ridiculous federal criminal offenses.
Let's see what these are.
Don't ever call turkey ham turkey or something. What?
No,
Make it a
no.
crime to
I already hate
I
this.
don't
Go
like
back
that.
to the last post. Go
Yeah,
back. Go to the one that says 5 dumbest.
Yeah, let's just narrow it down.
This is an actual
right away.
lawyer, not the top.
Okay. This guy got fined. Okay, one. All right, so he didn't go to jail, but a guy got fined $525 for getting a second.
Share this, Jesse, so people
a
can see
second
this.
soda
Okay,
refill
okay.
at a
This-
cafeteria.
The second one is actually the one who's talking about carjacking the mail truck. I actually feel like you should get in more trouble for this, right? Like there are certain jobs that I have on my radar of like you just don't get to mess with me. And I know we blurred the line of this or whatever. But like you carjack the mail truck, you're stealing mail, bro.
Yeah. So
That's
what?
a-
Did,
I'm
what
currently
That's a
waiting for a
federal offense.
$1,000 check. I want you to go to jail if I don't get that on time.
Yeah,
Screw you.
I don't
bro.
understand why this is number 2 on the. Oh, this is not dumbest, meaning they're not good.
Oh, like
this
they
is like
did
the
dumb
dumbest fucking
They're
criminals.
dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should not steal fucking mail trucks.
No.
That's like a really bad thing to do. People send stuff through the mail. Don't do that. Man posts video on YouTube, faces 10. Whoa.
10 years.
All right, so dude pled
Federal
felony
firearm.
possession of firearm after he posted a video. So holding.
It sounds like he was a felon
He was a
already.
felon,
Yeah,
Put
well,
it-
that is again. That's not a dumb crime. So this
And-
is a different list. But this
Yeah.
also, bro, if you know you're not supposed to do a thing, don't post it on a
Man
public
attempts
forum.
to rob Hank leaves job application with his.
I love that.
Smart,
one.
smart.
I know, I know.
Felipe Cruz. Did he leave his real name?
Oh my god. Well, yeah, we got it now.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Do better, Mr. Cruz.
I mean, look
Do
at number
better.
5.
I watched the movie.
I'm going to roll off of that one. real quick.
I watched the
Ooh.
movie.
Son of a bitch.
If you haven't seen it, I do watch movies every once in a while. Called American Animals last night. It's really good. It's like a heist movie, sort of a heist movie / documentary about these 4 guys that years ago tried to steal like a book that was worth like $4 million from this library at this college or whatever. And it's a very good movie. You haven't checked it out because it's like, have you guys ever seen Alpha Dog?
Yep.
Where it shows like a lot of the real people, it almost documentary. It's like that. So it shows the real guys and their families, but then also like a movie about it. And at one point, they had gotten the book, they had stolen everything, and then they brought it to an auction house, like a buyer or whatever, before people knew it was missing to try and get it valued and get it sold like immediately. And the guy who makes the offers was not there, only his like basically assistant was. And so they left, and then he got in the car and he's like, hey, they're going to call us. He's going to be here tomorrow. We're going to make the deal happen. And he's like, what number did you give him to call you? He's like, you gave him the hotel's number, right? And then he's like, no, I gave him my cell phone number. He's like, you just gave your fucking cell phone number to a person who's going to know in 3 days that this book has been stolen? And you just brought it to them? Like, that seems like the YouTube guy with the firearm.
But if you had a burner phone, it's fine.
No. That's what was the dumb about it.
I know.
Yeah, if you, like, I'm just saying, like, that's where they slipped up.
This is why you should always have a burner cell phone no matter what.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
I know you carry them.
Does he?
All right, Jesse, are you ready for the question? This is a good one.
Yeah.
I like this one. I don't even care if we lose viewership. This is a great question, and I want to hear your answers.
Okay.
All right. So consider you take your current form, your current person,
No training.
no training, no preparation, and drops you into the world's largest stage sporting events, whatever you can think it is. And you have to clutch, either make a 25-yard field goal,
One shot.
one shot, and you win. 1 second on the clock, timeout, ready to go.
Walk off.
You have a penalty kick. You have to make the penalty kick, end of the game, World Cup, final, Mbappe standing behind you, waiting for you to make the goal. You've got a 6-foot putt at Masters, Ryder Cup, whatever it is, NBA Finals, Olympics, Finals, Championship, probably NBA Finals is more meaningful. Nobody cares about the Olympics in
They
basketball.
really don't.
You've got one shot to make a free throw.
Can I add one?
Sure.
Because I thought about this after the fact.
Oh, yes.
It is bottom of the ninth.
Okay.
You are down by 1 run. Listen.
I'm already out on
Listen,
this one.
listen.
Hardest thing to do in sports.
Listen, no, guys. Seriously. I've thought about this. I understand that. Oh wait, we didn't get through all of them. I'm sorry. The last one, I thought that was it.
It was a free throw.
No. The six,
1, 2, 3,
do we
4.
do the 6-foot putt?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the last one would be bottom of the ninth, World Series. You're down by 1, 2 outs, runner on first and second, and 3-1 count.
So you got 2 pitches.
Damn.
I want to hear Nick's because I've already made
Actually,
mine.
no. I'm sorry. Second and third, 2 out.
I want Nick's
3-1
untainted
count.
view of this because
1 ball and it's a tie
What is the
game.
question?
You might have to
So
do
which
nothing.
which one are you most confident in? You're making
Which
a
one are you
penalty
doing?
kick. You're driving
The
in the
free
run.
throw.
You're making easily.
The free throw is going to be
Easily.
if
I
I'm-
said the same thing.
if I'm-
Maybe that's because y'all are tall guys. That's the one that
It's
I'm
the
most
most
fearful of.
controlled
Yeah.
situation. Like I don't know how to hold a putter to make the ball do what I want to do. I definitely
I don't
know.
either.
I
Shit.
definitely know that pitcher up there is going to know that I had no idea
Yes.
how to put the bat on the ball, and he's just going to see heat right down the middle.
100 miles an hour down
The
the middle.
penalty
What if-
kick.
No, okay. All right. Let's.
Or the field goal kick.
You're suspending disbelief a little
The
bit.
field goal distance I
Hold
can't
on.
get.
Listen.
That's long.
Actually, 25 yards. This
25
going
yards.
back to my brother. We actually last time I kicked a field goal, we were goofing around at the Notre Dame game where my dad was they were doing a thing for my dad's championship team.
Yeah.
You could probably muscle it through ugly up to about 40 yards. It's not going to look good.
God.
But like have you ever seen real kickers in warm-ups and shit hit it from 75 yards?
100%.
Sure.
I'm telling you, you could ugly kick it from 25. It's going to look the worst.
I will just
You're
tell-
going to look the worst with
look,
the field goal.
No, dude. I was walking through a field with an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old in Victoria the other day, and we had a soccer ball, and I kicked that bitch, and it barely went
I'm just
30
telling
yards.
you, dude. Have you ever stood at the 8-yard line? It's so close.
Like I understand it.
It's not
I
going to
know.
look
but,
good.
but you're saying our current
You,
our current
right
talent.
now.
No,
right now.
No, this is where you're making a mistake. It's actually, hang on.
Well, it's
No,
actually
we have a
the 15.
discrepancy. Yes.
You're standing the
You're at the
even the
15.
15
You're
is
kicking
close,
from the 15.
though.
You're right. It's not far, but it seems so
yes,
far.
so you
dude.
have that.
I get that.
and you've got the defensive line coming at you.
Yeah.
No, I'm
I
telling you.
feel that the
free
difference though
throw.
is the margin of error is bigger because I'm pretty close to the field goal. You guys are tall guys, so I believe that you would go free throw. I just feel like I've seen so many dudes that know how to do this just brick it and freaking clutch
And I probably would too, but I'm going to
And I'm
yoink.
like,
I'm going
ugh.
to yoink the field goal because I'm going to be just try and kick the shit out of it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The thing about you got to suspend disbelief a little bit because you got to in this premise. you are you with your capabilities, but I assume they don't know that. Like the pitcher's not just going to groove one.
Yeah, but
I still don't think
Still,
even if
bottom-
you
He's
threw
gonna
it 80,
try to get you swinging or something.
No.
There's a chance he walks you.
No.
I would
there-
swing at a 67 curveball like it was freaking going to burn down my
Yeah,
house.
like if he actually throws you a real pitch, there's not a way.
you got to
chance you're gonna hit it.
remember, they don't know it, but they're more than likely the closer's in. The closer's going to
Yeah.
throw.
He's going to throw you a
98
cutter, and even if you swing, you're just
Yeah.
grounding out, no problem.
98 to 100.
I love that
Right?
Danny Force is just so sure. He's like, they're not coming at you unabated.
Okay, but that is also another argument
right.
for the field goal. Is if I got a solid line,
No, it's another argument for the free throw. The free throw, there's literally no competition. It is.
it's also all on you.
It is.
Dude,
but
it's
that's
Somebody
all-
could break through and block my field goal, and then I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you could at least
Come on,
blame it on somebody
Ryan.
else. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
You know what I mean?
The free throw is the most completely controlled, calm situation.
Yeah.
Unless you have that dude who's in his underwear thrusting at you.
So why are you guys?
No, putting would be the same though. 6-foot putt.
Well,
No, because the
Think about-
ground moves and
There's
stuff.
so
is it
many
a straight putt?
questions.
That's the one I would probably choose, honestly.
The free throw is the
if it was a
same every
straight,
time.
if it was a straight 6-foot putt, then
mean,
I
that's
got nobody to
that's the
blame but
easiest
myself. I
one.
think
Yeah.
that's the easiest one, but it's got to be straight. That could also be the hardest one if there's break. I'm curious, is it just because you guys have never played soccer? Because I never really have either. Realistically, the penalty kick seems like the
Seems like
highest
where you can
percentage
deke them
play.
the most.
Yeah.
I think it's just
More, if you look at free throw percentage versus penalty kick percentage, it's not even close.
I
would
currently
assume.
don't feel comfortable with my ability to rocket one in there.
Well, dude, watching the dude from England sail
Bro.
it the other day,
Yeah.
in a
Hurricane.
clutch moment, like it
Yep.
makes it. I even still told Jesse because we had asked this question before that shootout, and I was like, man, that thing looks smaller when it's clutch, dude. Like I
100%.
thought soccer nets were just huge, and they are. But then you get that camera angle from right behind the shooter, and you're like, man, it looks a little smaller.
They're
in the
huge
World
when
Cup.
the goalie jumps to the right and
That's
is
what I'm
laying on
saying.
the ground.
It looks huge when they make it, but you get that shot before they go from behind, and it's a pressure situation. And even I was thinking, I was like, I don't know where I would put it right now. It looks a little smaller than I remember. Like so, but it just
I
seems
think-
like that's the highest percentage.
I
play.
think if you're asking me my chance of success as all of them as a whole, I'm probably going to miss whatever the thing is more than I make it in all of those
Yes, of
situations.
Can I run a fake field goal? Where I just have the holder toss it behind his head and I just bootleg and run it into the
Oh,
right
you think
side.
you can make it to the corner 15 yards before an NFL linebacker can? I think you
Like,
get
listen,
hotted.
listen.
So bad.
All right, listen. And you can disagree with me.
300-pound dudes running 4.5s.
I know.
That's all I have to say.
Listen. You can disagree with me. That's fine. If I'm taking my chances between making the field goal and making it to the pylon,
Agreed.
I might take the sprint. At least I know how to run. I
Yeah.
don't know how to kick.
I agree. I'm
I'm not saying I'm going to make it. I'm saying if I like the odds of being able to beat somebody to the pylon, then I do a
I
making
might
that
even
field
throw
goal.
off my back foot to the back of the end zone and go
Yeah, I
do
might
that.
throw a fade.
I don't know.
Maybe we figure out a way to do this on next week's show.
Guys, can
don't
we
know.
try this
Live-
stuff?
Can this be like the
Live-
ticket where we just go in the
Yes.
parking
Can
lot
we at
and
least
run
go kick a
40s and
field?
stuff?
I don't want to
Oh
run
my
40s, but
gosh.
can we at least go kick a field goal? And I can show you guys it's actually not that hard from 25 yards.
I've been waiting for Danny to comment on this about doing a hockey penalty
Of
shot.
course.
I'm like, there's no way I'm going to get
No.
on skates.
That's the lowest percentage play. I think
No,
the goalies in hockey are
100%.
the best. I would honestly take
You
the
have to be able
bait-
to skate.
Dude, I would fall
Yeah, that
on
too.
the ice.
Standing
bro.
up on hockey skates while somebody's fucking with you?
Percentage-wise, I would take the baseball scenario over the hockey one.
I honestly would too.
Anyway, like,
I said baseball was the hardest thing to do. I think skating while
Goalies-
somebody's hitting you and controlling the puck might be the hardest
well, this
thing
would
to
be a
do.
penalty shot, but even still, goalies are so good in the NHL.
Yeah.
It's
And that net is
unbelievable how
really
good they are.
absurdly tiny for how thick they are.
I've played hockey for a very long time. I'm still taking the soccer penalty kick over the hockey one.
Yeah,
it's not even
the hockey one's
I'm
dead
gonna,
last
I'm
on
gonna
that
triple
entire
deke
list.
that
I'm gonna-
bad boy into the back of the net.
Is that Mighty Ducks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to do this. We've got
I'm
we got
actually
some
on board
time
with
off
this.
coming up.
I'm on board with
I'm
this.
not opposed to this actual thing, and it
This
doesn't work
could
from a
be
live
fun.
podcast because I drive from place
Oh,
to
we
place.
can
But
just-
this
we can
might
post it in the
This
group.
might be an afternoon of
This
just
could be
us
fun.
going and doing
Okay,
all
look,
of these individual
if we go to a
things.
local high school, they're gonna have a field goal and a soccer
Dude, we can
net.
do all of these.
Yes.
We can do all of these. The only thing we have to have. Oh, Eric Hacker. Eric Hacker is a former Major League Baseball pitcher who I know who's a real estate agent. He can come and throw us baseballs.
He's got a real
Oh,
pitcher.
dude,
Swear to
I'm-
God,
I'm
dude.
out on
Oh
that
my
one.
God. He was at Real Producers with us.
If this dude accidentally fucking smokes,
I'm
one of
going to
us-
text Eric Hacker and ask if he'll come and
Just
freaking
throws
feed us
us shit
fastballs.
music.
You stand on second. You stand on third. We'll stand on the bases for each other. He'll throw up meat. We got to try and drive the third base person home. And you got two hacks.
I would like it, dude. Can we?
sounds like
let's
so
do
much
this.
fun, all of us.
This
Actually
is a fun
does.
field trip.
The question is, are White Claws allowed?
I would hope they're encouraged.
Well, I would just tell you, when it comes to the baseball side, my softball team in college beat the Cops softball team, and we drank beer all day. So I think we
Yeah.
could do that.
I would love to see a statistic, Jesse, which is undocumented, I'm sure. But when you get alcohol involved, like how many like really close or actual like fights over time have you seen in professional baseball versus local local softball leagues where people are drinking before the game? I
Oh,
bet
I'm
it is
sure it's obscene.
exponentially more
I know
when
someone-
dudes are not getting paid but they're drinking
I
beforehand.
know someone personally who was jumped and has brain injury now because
Oh.
softball league,
That's
they were
a
drunk.
really sad
Jesus.
place.
Yes, I'm
Well,
telling you, it's
bring it
bad.
down.
That stuff gets real bad.
Gosh, man, that's way
Wow.
too heavy.
And on that note,
Dang.
never doing a show again.
Okay, let's.
Till next
We only do this when we commit to it. When are we doing this? Can we do this?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
I will tell you, I've got bad flexibility next week and the week after Christmas. So
Probably the week after.
I don't know what you guys' travel
You have-
plans are. I'm done
oh, you said
traveling for the year. No, I've got so
mad
much flexibility. I've got so
flexibility.
much flexibility right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Because he's
Like,
doing yoga and Pilates.
I do.
Maybe the
I've got a dad like
28th.
4 days out of the
let's
next
do it.
20.
Yeah, let's do it the Wednesday. That'll be what we do. We already set this time aside. We're not going to do a show. Wednesday the 28th, we'll do it instead of the show.
Let's do
And
it.
then we'll film it. We'll find a high school down the road and we'll do it there.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
Bring the crowd out.
All right, deal.
Oh, see, that'll be a fun live event too.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, if you guys want to watch that live, come
Yeah,
on.
we'll see
You
how
know
it
you
goes.
do.
We will publish where we're
If
going
we
to
get
be.
enough people
Yes.
to do it
Oh
live,
my
we'll figure out a way to
God.
like make transportation more equal.
Yeah. We'll find
By my house.
We'll post the location.
You guys can ride in the back of
group.
Nick's truck.
So, all right. Until next week.
Yeah, until next week. We're going to do this again for real?
I think so.
Yeah.
Just not this week.
All right.
Next week for sure.
Well,
Last one ever.
I guess I'll see you freaking jackwads next week. Get us
Still, the
outta
camera's
here,
still
bro.
on me, but not on Kelderman.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Jesse's trying to figure
Maybe
out
this
his-
is really the last show.
terrible. Bye.
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. Then go to that one. Thanks.